a fury of Lewis's attack.
What's happening, my people? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing, and we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT, just do boxing. The Mighty Rise Podcast, hashtag JBT. Mike Mazik. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, The Box Storian. Today, the life and career of the Cobra, called Froch. The life and career of the Cobra, called Froch. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's The Box Storian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. As everyone today, this is the Friday afternoon edition of Cass Sports, The Box Storian. We're going to be talking about Carl Froch, one of the top fighters in the UK. Right up on the weekend, right up on the big heavyweight showdown, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. And right up on that big JBT raffle, it has exploded. The winner will now win $435 to the winner. Winner take all, $435. Going out tomorrow, right after the big heavyweight, whoever gets their hand raised for real. Right after that, 5 minutes after that, at least $435 goes in somebody's cash app. Could possibly be more because we still got the rest of today, all day tomorrow. But right now, 435 big ones. Somebody gonna have a Merry Christmas. 4 days before Christmas. Woo. Winner take all. Okay. Can we get 500? 65 more dollars. Will be 500. But 435, $5 get you one chance. $20 get you 5. That is a big turnaround for 5, 20, whatever you spend. Wow. Wait. So good luck to everybody. You still got 2 days to get into it. But yeah, 435 right now. But salute to everybody that's in the building so far. There'll be a few more coming. That's why I wait till 2:30. And we're going to get into our highlights of boxing history while we're waiting for 2:30 to get here. But yeah, I guess the weigh-in is today, right? I read, did he already have it? I heard Fury was pushing 300 pounds. Because I saw him when he was supposed to do the media workout, and he just came out there and waved and then left, and he had that hoodie on. You can see those lumps under those hoodies. So I knew he was coming in big. I knew Fury was coming in big for this one. Somebody said 300. Is that? I didn't see the weigh-in. Is that true? Damn. So you know what he's going to try to do? He's going to try to lean all over Usyk. But Usyk didn't allow that last time, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But we don't have long to wait. It's tomorrow. Riyadh season from Saudi Arabia. The big heavyweight showdown for 3 belts this time because Usyk got stripped of the IBF, remember? Daniel Dubois has it now. That's what him and AJ was fighting for. So, but still 3 belt, unified heavyweight. If Usyk wins, he got Fighter of the Year sewn up. I'm not saying he would deserve it. I think Daniel Dubois got a good chance at it. But if Usyk beats Fury again, he's got it. He's Fighter of the Year. You know they're going to give it to him. Yeah. If he loses, then Daniel Dubois got a good... Well, Daniel got a good case for it anyway, but if Usyk wins, he's got it. But if he loses, it might be Daniel, because Daniel has had a good year too. You know, 2 big wins over 2 big names. AJ and the other guy in the 5 vs. 5. I can't never think of his name, but yeah. Pretty big name. I think the guy was favored to beat Daniel. Daniel stopped him. Yeah. Remember Eddie Hearn went... Eddie didn't win a fight. Got shut out. Yeah, Daniel was one of those guys for Frank Warren. Yeah, and so it's tomorrow. All we have is a wake up for the big heavyweight fight and the big JBT raffle drawing. The wheel spins right after the fight, and then 5 minutes after that, the winner will get at least minimum $435. Probably be more. I'm going to check it again before I go off the air and update you right before I go off. But right now, we're starting out with 435. Let's talk about some highlights of boxing history right now. Okay, we're going to start out with the 1940s. 1940s. Okay, 1941 to be exact. Okay, here we go. On January 13th, 1941, Anton Christoforidis becomes the first Greek world boxing champion in history, beating Melio Bettina by a 15-round decision for the National Boxing Association's vacant world light heavyweight title, Cleveland, Ohio. Anton Christoforidis becomes the first Greek boxing champion. January 17th, May 23rd, 1941, jumping around. May 23rd, 1941. In an extremely controversial fight, Joe Louis retains his world heavyweight title with a 7th round disqualification win over Max Bayer's brother, Buddy Bayer. After the bell to end round 6, Lewis landed a blow that dropped Bayer. Said timekeeper Billy DeChard. Joe hit Bayer at least 3 seconds after the bell sounded. Looking for a disqualification win, Bayer's manager announced his fighter would not come out for round 7, and Bayer wound up getting disqualified instead. The controversial fight took place in Washington, D.C. Yeah, the timekeeper said Joe hit him 3 seconds after the bell, and then in protest, Bayer didn't come back out for the next round because they didn't disqualify Joe, and Bayer ended up getting disqualified. Wow. Okay. June 18th, 1941. Behind on the scorecards, Joe Louis scores a 13th round knockout of former world light heavyweight champion Billy Conn to retain the world heavyweight title at New York. And we talked about that the other day. Billy was giving Joe a boxing lesson. It was a 15-round scheduled fight. Through 12 rounds, Billy Conn gave Joe Louis a boxing lesson. Had to fight one on the card. Joe Louis needed a knockout. But for some reason, Billy Conn stopped boxing, came out the 13th round, got overconfident, and decided to stand toe-to-toe with Joe Louis, one of the best finishers in boxing history, and Billy got knocked out. All he had to do was box for 3 more rounds, and that 25 fight title defense streak, none of that would have happened. That would have altered history drastically. But Billy Conn got overconfident, wanted to stand toe-to-toe with Joe Louis, and got knocked out. Didn't even make it a whole round going toe-to-toe after giving the Brown Bummer a boxing lesson for 12 rounds. Too bad it wasn't 12 rounds. Billy would have had it. But yeah, that was a terrible mistake Billy made. Mike Rim is in the building. What's up, Mike Rim? How you doing today? Happy Friday, Mike. We're headed to the weekend. The raffle is $435. Somebody's going to have a Merry Christmas. That's enough to get me my laptop, and they still have about $200 in their pocket. Man, everybody going to have a Merry Christmas. Okay. 1942. Is that where we at? Yeah. I think. Yeah. January 9th, 1942. In a rematch of their controversial 1941 fight, Joe Louis retains his world heavyweight title with a first-round knockout of Buddy Bayer at New York City. The fight is fought as a benefit to the New York Auxiliary of the Naval Relief Society. Yeah, Joe gave his entire bag to that organization. And that was the rematch of the fight where Joe hit the man after the bell, and then Buddy, in protest, wouldn't come out for the next round because Joe didn't get disqualified. So Joe gave him a rematch, and guess what? Joe didn't hit him after the bell this time. Joe got him out of there in the first round. Okay? So, nothing to complain about that time. Yeah. February 13th, 1942. Former world light heavyweight champion Billy Conn beats world middleweight champion Tony Zale by a 12-round unanimous decision in a non-title fight at New York. This would be Conn's last fight in 4 years, as he would go on to serve in World War II. Same Billy Conn that decided to stand toe-to-toe with Joe Louis and got knocked out. Yeah. He won his next fight. Then he went into the military to serve in the war. And during the war, 4,000 boxers from different countries left the sport to serve in World War II. Yeah. 1943. February the 5th, 1943. In their second of their classic 6-fight rivalry, Jake LaMotta gives Sugar Ray Robinson his first defeat by a 10-round unanimous decision, Detroit, Michigan. This fight would be portrayed 37 years later in LaMotta's biographic movie, Raging Bull. Yep, they showed that fight in that movie. Robert De Niro played Jake. I don't know who played Sugar Ray. That's a good something to find out. Who played Sugar Ray in that movie? Yeah, I did know, but I forgot. But I used to know who played Sugar Ray. Sure did. Okay. That was February 5th. So now, August 27th, 1942. let's see what happened on August 27th, 1942. Sugar Ray again. Sugar Ray Robinson beats his childhood hero, Henry Armstrong, by a 10-round unanimous decision at the Garden in New York. Now, Henry was on the way out, and Sugar Ray, that was his childhood hero, Sugar Ray carried him, gave him a fight, carried him through the fight, wanted to earn Henry one more bag before he retired. That's what that was about, yeah. He didn't want to knock him out or nothing, so he carried him to the decision. Yeah, very nice of Sugar Ray. What a friend. Made him some money, because didn't knock him out. Beautiful. Okay. 1900 and I go from, I see what I did. So I go from 43 to 48. I got the paper folded over. We going to 1944. On March 10th, 1944. Okay? March 10th. Sal Bartolo beats Phil Terranova by a decision in 15 rounds to win the NBA World Featherweight title. Nonetheless, Willie Pep continues being recognized as the sole World Featherweight champion by most fans and the press. Yeah, Willie said, I ain't paying no attention to those other belts. I got one, I'm the champion. We only had two. We had the NBA. Willie must have had the New York State Athletic Commission. And Willie didn't play that, man. It's only one champion. Should have fought it out, right? August 4th, 1944. That was May 10th, right? August 4th, 1944. There we go. The War Bonds fight. $36 million is raised to fund the war effort as Bojack wins a 10-round decision over arch rival Bart Montgomery in New York. A few weeks later, they were both drafted on the same day by the Army. I guess the Army said, y'all made us all at $36 million. We might as well draft y'all. Since y'all love us so much. They had a fight, raised $36 million for the war effort. And then a few weeks later, they got drafted. They got noticed when they had that fight, right? 1945. February 24th. February 24th, 1945. We had 319. Here we got a little bit of time left. February 24th, 1945. Now, a note on boxing in 1945. Now, because of the events of World War II, during this year, there were only 2 world championship fights in 1945. Because of the war, only 2 title fights the entire year. Wow. Isn't that something? The entire year, just 2 fights. Title fights. There were other fights, but just 2 title fights. Now, February 24th. Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta fight Chapter 4 of their rivalry. Robinson wins a 10-round unanimous decision back at the Garden again. Yeah, him and Jake liked the Garden. Then on September 28th, 1945, or September 27th, I don't know how I got 8. That's September 27th. Wait a minute now. Okay, we go to 1946. September 27th, 1946. Okay. Tony Zale and Rocky Graciano fight each other for the first time, starting one of boxing's most notorious rivalries. They had a trilogy. World middleweight champion Zale retains the crown, knocking out Graciano in round 6 at the Garden. All mixed up. 1947. But December 21st, 1946, Sugar Ray Robinson becomes world champion for the first time, beating Tommy Bell by a 15-round unanimous decision for the vacant World Welterweight Championship in New York. 1946, Sugar Ray Robinson becomes champion for the first time. Then on February 28th, 1947, okay? Gus Lesnovic retains his world light heavyweight title with a 10th round knockout over Billy Fox, the guy against whom Jake LaMotta later alleged to have thrown a fight, right? Yeah, Jake has only knocked down once in his career, and that was that fight against Billy Fox where he said he took a dive. So the only time he went down in his career was he said he took a dive and went down. So Jake says he wasn't never knocked down, he took a dive, right? December 5th, 1947. December 5th. Joe Louis retains his world heavyweight title for the 24th time with a 15-round split decision over Jersey Joe Walcott. So Joe got one more defense. Remember, he made 25 of them. 25 was the record. 1948. We're going to finish up the 40s, then we're going to get ready to get started with the Cobra, Carl Froch. February 20th, 1948. Tragedy strikes as Ezra Charles defeats Sam Berardi in Chicago by a knockout in round 10. Berardi died as a consequence of the blows suffered. He died on February 21st from blows suffered in that fight. Yep, that's part of it. Unfortunate part of it, but remember the South Korean guy just died this year. He suffered the injuries in Monster when Monster got his second 4-belt undisputed in December last year. And then, he was leaving the ring and couldn't walk. Having trouble walking, so they rushed him to the hospital and the doctors put him in a medical-induced coma. He never came out of it. I think he died around February of this year. Yep. I forgot his name, but he was a Japanese boxer. Japanese boxer on the undercard of the Naoya Inoue fight in December when he got his second 4-belt undisputed. Yep. So March 23rd, 1948. Renty Monahan unifies the world's flyweight title with a 7th round knockout win over Jackie Patterson in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Then he gets accidentally knocked out himself by a well-wisher at the after party. Damn. He knocked his man out in the ring, and then somebody at the after party knocked him out. God damn, Renty. That was a rough after party, man. He won his fight, then got knocked out at the after party. I mean, I bet that's got to be some kind of record for the only time that happened. Knocked out at the after party of the fight. Wow. June 10th, 1948. The final chapter of the Zale Graciano trilogy as Tony Zale defeats Rocky Graciano by knockout in round 3 to regain the world's middleweight title. Newark, New Jersey. All right. Newark, New Jersey. I see better without these glasses right now. I need them for them small letters on the phone. June the 10th, 1948. I just did that. June the 25th, 1948. Okay? That's where we are. The Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, retains his 25th and final time. Yep. This time knocking out Jersey Joe Walcott in round 11 of their New York rematch. Louis would retire officially, leaving the title in 1949. His 25 title defenses are a record for any division in boxing and still stands to this day. But Joe Louis did come back, but he never won the title again. He did return, but he never won the title again. Final year, 1949. Okay, then we're going to call it quits for the boxing history. Okay, the first date is February the 11th, 1949. Okay, Willie Pep recovers the world featherweight title, beating Sandy Sadler by a 15-round unanimous decision in the second of their 4-fight rivalry at the Garden again. Yeah, they fought 4 times. Became great friends. Sandy took a lot of punishment because he had that pugilistica dementia or dementia pugilistica, whichever order they go. He had that severely. Him and Willie was giving a joint interview one time, and Willie had to answer the question for Sandy because Sandy could barely talk, man. It was bad. He was in bad shape. Not bad as nobody was as bad as Ali, but he was bad. March 1st, 1949. Joe Louis announces his retirement, leaving the world heavyweight title vacant after 11 years, 6 months, and a world record 25 defenses as world champion. But I told you he did come back. Never won the title again, but he did come back. Also on March 1st, 49, Manuel Ortiz retains his world bantamweight title with a 15-round unanimous decision over Dado Marino for his 18th title defense. That's the record for the bantamweight division in their Honolulu rematch, and that stands to this day too. Bantamweight 118, 18 title defenses, yeah, 18 of them. Well, October 27th, 1949, Marcel Cerdan dies when his plane in Air France Constellation crashes over the Azores when he was returning to the United States for a rematch with Jake LaMotta. Yeah, Marcel was a French fighter. And the French people hated Jake because Jake beat him. They said he wouldn't have been on that plane on the way back over to the United States if you hadn't beat him, Jake. And they loved Sugar Ray for beating Jake all them times. And Sugar Ray went to France. He would get the royal treatment. One time they even flew his pink Cadillac over there for him, right? Brought his whole entourage. Sugar Ray had like a 30-something people entourage. I think Sugar Ray started the entourage, yeah. But they loved him in France. And finally, for today's highlights of boxing history, December 6, 1949. Sandy Sadler wins the vacant World Junior Lightweight title, defeating Orlando Zuluta by a 15-round decision in the last title fight of the decade, held in Cleveland, Ohio. All right. Let's get ready. Look at that, 228, man. Beautiful. Let's get ready to start talking about the Cobra, Carl Froch, one of the top UK fighters in history. Yeah, Carl. Carl was a bad man. He made it to the finals of that Super 6 tournament they had. I went up against Andre Ward. Andre Ward wasn't a fight, but yeah, Carl made it to the finals. Won a few fights because the tournament went over 2 years. You know, a Super 6, you're not going to just do it in a couple of weeks. You know, it's boxing. So it took from 2009 to 2011. Carl was in that. Beat some big names in there. Beat Mikhail Kessler, Arthur Abraham. I think it was Glenn Lee in that. What's his name was in it? Carissa's uncle. Carissa Shields' uncle, you know. Andre Durrell. Yeah. So beat some big names. Couldn't get past SOG, but yeah. Nobody beat Andre Ward. He was, 32-0 when he retired? Yeah. But Carl did a very good job in that. And we're going to talk about it. And don't forget, man, the raffle is $435. Might be more by the time we get off of here. It was $435 just before I started. It was just $250 last Saturday at our meeting. So almost $200 in a week. But I was telling everybody, it always does that at the end. It always explodes. So we're trying to get to $565 more dollars, you know. $65 will give you 15 chances. You get 5 for 20. So somebody spend that $60 and get them 15 chances. If somebody spends $60 and get it to $495, I'll put 5 in and get it to $500. How about that? Somebody willing to spend the $60, get it to $495. Big Spender Cash Sports will put $5 in and get it to $500. Okay? I'll match your $60 with $5. Just $5. How about that? That's big, man. Okay, let me take a drink, then we're gonna get started. I'll probably say you full of shit, Cash Sports. Once somebody spend $60, I'm gonna put in 5. Okay. But I will. Plus you'll get 15 chances. I'm only getting 1. Well, I ain't getting none because I can't get in it. I'm just donating out of the kindness of my heart $5. If somebody spends 60. Okay, let's go. The Cobra. Man, I did it again and forgot to show my historic picture from the 40s while I was doing the highlights. Damn. Let me show it now. I showed it yesterday. Y'all got to start reminding me, man. Where is it? Damn. Now, bear with me for a second. I don't have no idea what I'm doing now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, y'all. Oh, come on, man. Get the hell off of here. I'm getting all kinds of messages and stuff. So if we go off the air, I will see y'all Monday. Okay? Have a good weekend. There we go. Yeah, that's the picture I was supposed to show during the highlights of boxing history. Took away none other than Jake LaMotta's fight from the 40s. Al Booker in the building, and Crush the Legend. I'm trying to say both of y'all names at the same time. Salute Al Booker and Crush the Legend. The life and career of the Cobra. Call Froch today. Yeah. And I agree with you, just Crush, what you talked about this morning. There are too many belts. And you know, it comes down to money, because everybody that has a belt around their waist, some sanctioning body or somebody digging into their bag, man. And these young fighters don't need those titles. They don't even make enough money to be giving it out to some sanctioning body. So it's crazy, man. But you're 100% right, Crush. The belts just boil down to money, and it's too many of them, man. Too many of them. I agree with you 100%. They need to get rid of some of these damn belts, man. They bad for the sport. Okay. But yeah, I was just talking about what Crush was talking about this morning. Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Crush the Legend, Coffee and the Donuts. That's because Crush is hashtag TWT. That's a joint TWT JBT operation, so you know it's got to be fire. And hosted by Crush the Legend. Fire episode. And then we got Al Booker in the building too. What's up, AB? And we getting ready to get started on the Cobra. Call Froch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that nickname too, AB, the Cobra. He got to be one of the, when you're talking about top UK fighters, Call's name got to come to mind. Got to be in the conversation. Have to be in the conversation. You know, the Cobra. Now, before we get started, the Cobra, he fought out of the orthodox stance, right? And fought in the super middleweight division his entire career, right? He was 6'1", had a reach of 75 inches, and had a total of 35 fights. Won 33, lost 2, 24 by knockout. Only ones that beat him was Andre Ward and Mikkel Kessler, 2 of the top super middleweights of that era, you know, 2010s through like 2002 through like 2015. Yeah, Andre Ward, Mikkel Kessler was the only 2 that beat Carl Froch, right? Yeah. But yeah, the Cobra. Yeah, I like that nickname too, AB, the Cobra. Fire your nickname. Now let's get started talking about the Cobra. Oh, man. There we go. Man. Okay, there we go. Here's the Cobra. All right. Okay, Carl Martin Froch, right? He was born July 2nd, 1977, right? And he's British. And he competed from 2002 to 2014, right? And since his retirement, he's worked as a boxing analyst and commentator. He's on DAZN, right? Yeah. And because Eddie Hearn was his manager and promoter at the end. He started out with somebody else, but he ended up with Eddie, right? Eddie Hearn. And now he works with DAZN, right? Which Eddie is also affiliated with. Now, Carl held multiple world championships in the super middleweight division. So that's the only division he had before that. Never went up or down, including the WBC title twice between 2008 and 2011. He had the International Boxing Federation IBF title from 2012 to 2015. And the Cobra had the WBA title between 2013 and 2015. He had a 2-year reign there. Now, at regional level, of course, he had the British and Commonwealth super middleweight titles. Any British fighter worth the salt that had them two. So you know Carl Froch had them. And they had those titles for 4 years, between 2004 and 2008. And he won the Lonsdale belt in 2006. Anybody know what the Lonsdale belt is? Because I don't. He won that in 2006, right? The Lonsdale, Lonsdale. The Lonsdale belt. I have no idea what that is, you know. If I don't know, I ain't scared to say I don't know. Anybody know what that is? That right there. Carl Froch had it. That belt, the Lonsdale belt. Okay, if anybody know, put it in the chat, because I don't. Okay. But Carl had that in 2006. Now, as an amateur, Froch won a middleweight bronze medal at the 2001 World Championships and the Amateur Boxing Association title twice. He was voted Fighter of the Year for 2012 by BoxRec. And in 2013, the UK edition of GQ magazine voted Carl Sportsman of the Year. And he reached a peak pound-for-pound ranking of number 6 by BoxRec and the Ring magazine. And in 2013, he was listed by the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, as the best active British boxer pound for pound. Yeah, I can go for that. Froch was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame as part of the class of last year, 2023. I thought he had been in there. He just got in last year? Well, he probably retired about 16, 17, so that's about right on line for him to go in, yeah. First ballot. Yeah, Carl Froch definitely first ballot material. So yeah, 2023 is about right. Now let's look at his early life. Look at Carl's early life. Carl Martin Froch. He was born in Colwick, Nottingham in 1977 over there in the UK. The son of Carol Douglas, mother's maiden name Douglas, and Frank Froch. His paternal grandparents were Polish. His paternal grandfather also had German ancestry, while Carl's mother's family is English, okay? Early in his life, Froch wanted to become a footballer, soccer player, that's big time over there, and play for Nottingham, his hometown team, Nottingham Forest, the local football team where he grew up at. And he had stated that he would have loved to fight at the city grounds, their home field, whatever they call it, the home soccer stadium, right? Now, he was a supporter of the club and occasionally trained at his training grounds during his career before fights. And he also appeared on the Sky Sports Saturday morning football show, Soccer AM, the week before he had a fight. He always appeared on that show. Yeah. Let's look at Carl's amateur career. Take a quick look at his amateur career before we get into it. Okay. Now, he won the Amateur Boxing Association middleweight titles in 1999 and 2001, and a bronze medal at the 2001 World Amateur Boxing Championships before turning professional and having his first professional fight in March 2002. Also, as an amateur, Froch lost to American Peter Manfredo Jr. Okay, now let's get on to Carl's professional career. Okay. Yeah, that's him and SOG right there. Yeah. That's a little later on down the line. One of his biggest fights, though. Okay, here's Al. AB knows what it is. AB says the Lonsdale belt is the oldest championship belt in British professional boxing. Okay, thank you, AB. I figured it had something to do with British boxing, but I sure didn't know. Now I know. The oldest Lonsdale belt is the oldest championship belt in British professional boxing. Thank you, Al Booker. Okay, so now we know what the Lonsdale belt is. Because I wasn't the only one that didn't know. Don't act like I was the only one, y'all. I'm not the only one that didn't know. Okay, but thank you, Al Booker, for that information. See, we all learning in here. I'm learning too. That's what it's all about. Anything you love like we love boxing, the more you know about it, the better supporter you are, right? Right? So yeah. Now somebody can ask us what the Lonsdale belt is, we can tell them. The oldest championship belt in British boxing professional history. Okay, Froch's early career as a professional. He was trained by Robert McCracken throughout his professional career. McCracken had him his entire career. He was managed and promoted by Mick Hennessy until 2011. And from there on, by Eddie Hearn. Eddie took over in 2011 to the end of his career. Now, Froch, I don't need these glasses, man. Get out of here, glasses. Okay. Put that right there. I'm just getting situated and it's going on 3 o'clock. Okay. Now, Froch made his professional debut at the age of 24 in March 2002. He fought at the New York Hall in Bethnal Green, London, right? He fought this guy here. Okay. Not a good picture. That's all I could find. I should have just left it blank. But he fought against veteran 36-year-old journeyman Michael Pinnock. Pinnock's record at the time was, get this, 4 wins, 52 losses, 8 draws, and 2 knockouts. Yes, 4 wins and 52 losses. I don't mean to laugh, but goddamn. 4 wins and 52 losses. I guess Carl knew he was going to win that one. But your debut, you don't want to lose it. So it's kind of like a make-sure fight. And they sure picked the one that he would make sure he would win that one. 4 wins, 52 losses. And Pinnock weighed 10 pounds more than Froch in a scheduled 6-round fight. It was scheduled for 6 rounds. That first fight against Michael Pinnock. And Froch won the fight by a 4th round TKO. Then he fought a further 4 more times that same year, 2002, winning them all, with 3 coming by 1st round knockout against O.J. Abrahams, Darren Coville, and Mike Duffield, and 1 victory coming by points. He had the points decision win against Paul Bonson. Now, Froch started 2003 with a knockout win against Valerie Odin, fighting for the first time at the Nottingham Arena, the same arena he would win his first world title 5 years later in. Excuse me. Yep. He would next fight in March, April, and October of that same year, 2003, defeating Yara John, David John, and Michael Monahan by knockout, and Vage Kokayan by points decision, respectively. Now, at this point in his career, Froch racked up 9 wins in as many fights, with 7 coming by way of knockout. In November of 2003, Froch fought fellow unbeaten British contender Alan Page, right? Yeah, fought another unbeaten contender from Great Britain by the name of Alan Page. There's him and Alan. Okay. Of course, that Carl got his back to us. And Allen was 8-0 with 4 knockouts. Okay. This fight was at the Derby Storm Arena in Derby for the English super middleweight title. Yep, for the English super middleweight title. It was vacant at the time now. Okay. Now, in round 7, Froch landed a hard right followed by an uppercut. And although Page did not go down, the referee, John Keane, stepped in and called it into the fight. So next, he goes for the British and Commonwealth Championships. Okay? In 2004, Froch won the Commonwealth and vacant British super middleweight titles by defeating Charles Adamu and Damon Haig, respectively. Defeated Adamu for the British title, Commonwealth, and he defeated Haig for the British title. And he has defended both against Matthew Barney, Brian McGee, and Tony Dodson, and the Commonwealth belt alone against Ruben Grunwald and Dale Westerman. Then following a win over the Russian Sergei Tatisvoyan on November 9th, 2007 at Trent FM Arena in Nottingham, he stopped the veteran former world champion Robin Reed, after which Reed retired from the sport for 4 years. Okay, now he's going for his first major title, WBC super middleweight title. Okay, Froch versus John Pascal. Froch versus Pascal. There it is. Melanin Queen 27 in the building. Melanin Queen, when I started Queen, it was $435. 65 will get us to 500. And I told everybody the challenge is this. Anybody put in 60, get us to 495. Guess what? I'll put in 5, get us to 500. You'll get 15 chances. I don't get none because I can't get in it. Right? Is that a good challenge or what? Somebody put in 60, get us to 495. Big spending cash sports will put in $5 big dollars to get us to 500. Yep, I'm a heavy hitter. $5. But you get 15 chances. I don't get none. So don't laugh at my $5. Okay? But 435 is where it's at right now. It'll definitely be more by tomorrow. The WBC super middleweight champion, Froch, but salute Melanin Queen 27. Good to see you again. I've seen you about 4 or 5 times today already in all these YouTube streets. No, JBT streets. JBT streets. Froch versus Pascal. On December 6, 2008, Froch fought Canadian John Pascal for the vacant WBC super middleweight title and won by unanimous decision in a hard-fought 12-round brawl. And Pascal's still fighting. He was fighting back there with Froch and Andre Ward and them, and he's still fighting to this day, 2024. Now, both combatants showed enormous grit and determination, landing and taking huge shots from one another without even flinching. Both had good chins here. After the fight, it was revealed that Froch had sustained a perforated eardrum and a cracked rib in his final sparring session before the fight, and took all that punishment and went in there and brawled. You think in that situation you'd be trying to box from the outside, because Froch could box very good too, but he got in there and brawled, man, with a perforated eardrum and a cracked rib coming into the fight. Incredible, tough guy. Now Froch's promoter at the time, Mick Hennessy, gave Froch the opportunity to withdraw from the fight, but Froch refused. He went on ahead to fight, and he won it. Since the fight, Froch and Pascal, who has since become, Pascal became, he's a light heavyweight now, and Pascal became light heavyweight champion after that fight. They became friends, right? And they made a promise to face each other again in the future. But this fight never happened, and never will happen now, because Froch retired. Pascal is still fighting though, but not Froch. Okay? Froch versus Jermaine Taylor. Okay, versus Big D. He's now the super middleweight title. What sanctioning body was that? WBC. He's now the WBC super middleweight title. And like I said, he only fought at super middleweight in his career. His entire career fought at super middleweight. Froch versus Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine was the second man to ever be undisputed in the 4-belt era. Yeah. One of the only people to take all 4 from one person, too. Took them all 4 from B-Hop. Less than 5 people have done it that way. All 4 from one person, yeah. Jermaine Taylor did it. But now he's going up against Carl Froch. On April 25th, 2009, Froch fought Jermaine Taylor in his first defense of his WBC super middleweight title at the Foxwoods Resort in Mashantucket, Connecticut. There used to be a big fighting place back in the day. Floyd, Roy, all of them fought up there. And this fight was there, Froch and Jermaine Taylor. Froch survived a 3rd-round knockdown, the first of his career, amateur and professional. And he was behind on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards coming into the final round. He managed to stop Taylor with 14 seconds remaining in the 12th round to retain his WBC super middleweight title. 14 seconds left. That ain't as bad as that 2 seconds that Richard Steele did for Meldrick Taylor, is it, AB? Now, after the fight, Froch was quick to send out a verbal challenge to unbeaten Welsh boxer Joe Kawasaki. And he was also quoted as saying, Kessler, Pavlik, B-Hop, I want all of you. Okay, I want all of you. So now we get to the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Froch made it to the final fight in that. Yep. Made it to the final fight against SOG. Sure did. Now, on July 13th, 2009, because this thing took over a couple of years, because, you can't have a boxing tournament in 2 weeks. It's boxing, right? Went from 2009 to 2011. Now, on July 13th, 2009, Froch agreed to take part in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, Super Middleweight Tournament, 168, divided by Showtime, with the winner of the tournament winning the WBA and WBC Super Middleweight titles. So this thing was sponsored by Showtime, the WBA, and the WBC, right? Those titles would go to the winner. Now, the tournament featured 6 boxers, including Andre Durrell, Mikhail Kessler, Arthur Abraham, Jermaine Taylor, Andre Ward, and Carl Froch. Okay, Froch's first opponent was Andre Durrell. And Froch's first opponent in the Super 6 was Andre Durrell. Froch versus Durrell. Okay, it was his first fight in the tournament. What tournament was Andre? I think isn't he Clarissa Shields' uncle or something? Now, the fight took place because these fights were in various locations too. They wasn't all in the same place, right? Now, this fight took place in Nottingham, UK, on October 17th, 2009. And Froch came into the tournament with the WBC strap. I'm going to tell you who had the WBA in a minute because I forgot. But Froch came in with the WBC. And the WBC and WBA would go to the eventual winner of the tournament. And Froch's WBC title was on the line in every fight. Now, Froch won this fight and retained his title with a split decision victory over the previously undefeated Durrell. That was a very good fight, too. Froch and Durrell in that Super 6, yeah. Now, 2 of the judges scored the fight, 115, 112 in favor of Froch. And the third judge scored the fight, 114, 113 in favor of Durrell. You couldn't have been mad either way, because that was a very, I might watch that again today or tomorrow, but that was very good, man. Pull it up, you get a chance. Froch and Durrell in the Super 6. That might have been one of the best fights of the entire tournament, man, seriously. Okay, Froch versus Mikhail Kessler. That was his next opponent, the German Mikhail Kessler. One of the only 2 guys to beat Froch. This is Mikhail Kessler 1 because he fought it. He did come back and fought him again. Froch versus Kessler. Froch's next fight in the Super 6 was against Mikhail Kessler, who lost the WBA Super Middleweight title to Andre Ward. Okay, Kessler came in with the WBA. Now, it wasn't single elimination. You could lose one and keep fighting it. And I think Ward beat Kessler in their first fight and took the WBA from him. Okay, so now Froch's WBC title was on the line again in this fight. Now, the closely fought contest in Kessler's home country of Denmark, this one was in Denmark, wow, where both men had great moments throughout the fight. Kessler took Froch's title and inflicted Froch's first professional defeat by unanimous decision. The judges had it by margin 116, 112, 115, 113, and 117, 111, all for Kessler. Now, the scoring was somewhat controversial because remember, you were in Denmark, in Kessler's home. And the scoring was controversial, as some boxing announcers had scored the fight much closer, with some awarding Froch the win, and others scoring it a draw. Right? Froch later stated that the fight was close and that he believes the decision would have gone the other way if the event had been held in Nottingham in his home. Of course it would have, Carl. Tell us something we don't know. We know if it had been in Nottingham, you would have won it. Come on, man. Who don't know that? But it was in Kessler's place, so he won it. Right? And people over there in Europe love that home cooking. Right. So Froch says if it would have been in Nottingham, UK, he would have won it. Of course he would have. Now, the fight was a contender for the 2010 Fight of the Year. So see, it started in 2009, but this one, it went over into 2010. Now, his next fight in the tournament was Froch versus Arthur Abraham. Here they are. Froch versus Abraham. Okay, Abraham. Froch on the left, of course. Froch versus Abraham. Froch faced former. Now he lost his WBC, so this one wasn't for a title. But the winner would go on and had opportunity to win the WBA and WBC titles. Froch faced former IBF middleweight champion Arthur Abraham in the third stage in Helsinki, Finland. This one was in Finland, at the Heart Wall, Finland, in Finland, right? Now, Froch feared that if he fought in Abraham's adopted home country, there was a possibility of receiving a bad decision. And Froch already has one loss, right? One more loss, he's out of it, right? So he can't lose again, okay? However, since an eye injury forced Mikkel Kessler to relinquish the WBC title and resign from the tournament, okay, so Froch and Abraham was for the vacant WBC super middleweight title, okay? So yeah, but Kessler suffered an eye injury and left the tournament, so his WBC went vacant because the winner of this tournament is guaranteed the WBA and WBC. So since Kessler couldn't be in the tournament anymore, he had to be stripped, right? Because this tournament was by the Showtime, WBA, and WBC. And Kessler could not win it since he got out of it, so he had to take his belt. So this fight was for the WBC title. Now, both Froch and Abraham came off of a loss in stage 2 of the Super 6. So whoever loses this fight is out of it. Abraham lost after disqualification against former Froch victim Andre Dirrell. Froch regained the WBC super middleweight title by gaining a unanimous decision victory over Abraham, with the judges' scorecards reading 120, 108 twice, and 119, 109, reflecting the one-sided nature of the fight. Yeah, we need another super something, man, because I'm getting excited about this, and this was like 14 years ago, man. 154, 135 need a super something, man. Super 10, super something. Jarrell Hattie in the building. Ken Saw Love 1, Jarrell Hattie. They're coming the same time every day. Ken Saw Love 1, salute. Jarrell Hattie, salute. Talking about the Cobra. Carl Froch. We're up to the Super 6. You know, Carl was in that. Yeah, he beat Andre Dirrell. So Andre Dirrell is out. Your second loss, you're out. Both of those guys had one. And whoever lost their fight was out of it, eliminated. So Dirrell goes home. Okay? And Froch really washed him, man. Shut him out on one card. Shut him out on two cards, 120, 108, and 119, 109. For the third one. Okay, Froch versus Johnson. Yeah, Glenn Johnson was in it. Okay. Glenn Johnson was his next fight. Well, I don't have no picture. Oh, yes, I got it. Yeah, Glenn Johnson. There's him and Glenn. Glenn Johnson was his next fight. There they go. Froch versus Glenn Johnson. Jarrell. The raffle is $435 now, man. $435. And still got today and tomorrow to go. And anybody put $60 in, make it $495. I'll be a big spender and put in $5 and make it $500 even. Right? Big money cash sports will put in $5 to make it $500. All you gotta do is put in $60, Jarrell, and make it $495. Okay, let me go on. Froch versus Glenn Johnson was his next fight. Now, let me see. I don't know if Glenn had any losses or not. Now, following his victory over Abraham, Froch, and this is the semifinals, only 4 left. Froch entered the semifinal stage of the tournament. His opponent on June 4th, 2011. The winner goes to the final in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I think the semifinals and the finals was in Atlantic City, yeah. Yeah, the final was in Atlantic City, too. And his opponent was Glenn Johnson. Now, Froch retained, because remember, Froch won the WBC because Abraham had to vacate it because he had to get out of the tournament. And that was vacant, and Froch won that the last fight. So now, he retained his title with a majority decision victory with the judges' scorecards reading 117, 111, 116, 112, and one judge had it a draw. Okay? So now we come to the finale, right? Called Froch against SOG. SOG went through with no losses. Froch suffered one. It was double elimination. SOG didn't get beat the entire time. Man, we need another one of these things, man. Super six, super something, right? 154 or 135, definitely. But Froch versus Ward in the finale, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And it was fitting because Froch had the WBC, Ward had the WBA, because the winner of the tournament was promised WBA and WBC championships because they were the sponsors along with Showtime. And it's fitting. One had WBC, one had WBA. Okay, let's see what happened. Now, Carl Froch lost in the final of the Super 6 tournament in a fight against undefeated WBA super middleweight champion Andre Ward. The vacant Ring Magazine super middleweight title was also on the line in the fight, as well as Froch's WBC and Ward's WBA super middleweight title. So the Ring Magazine was on the line too. In the first 7 rounds, Ward outboxed Froch, successfully using his jab to neutralize Froch and beating him to the punch from a distance and at close range. Then, in the later rounds, Ward seemed to take his foot off the gas, leaving Froch to win a couple of rounds near the end of the fight, though they were close and competitive rounds. And the judges' final scorecards read, those fights, 115, 113, 150, all for Ward, 115. Now listen to this. This is ridiculous, man. 115, 113, 115, 113, 118, 110. All in favor of Ward, right? Now, I know the judges' card's not going to be exactly the same, but that different. 2 judges had a 7-5. 1 judge got it 10-2. Come on, man. I mean, like I said, it's not going to be exactly alike, but that different. 1 can get a man 5 rounds, and 1 can only give him 2. Come on, man. But Ward wins it, He really did win it, but I don't think it was that wide. Because I saw that fight. I've watched it again several times. I would say 116, 112 was probably about right. Yeah, 8-4. But 2 had it 7-5, 1 had it 10-2. It's ridiculous, man. But Ward came out of it as the Ring Magazine, WBA, and WBC super middleweight champions, right? And lineal champion because Froch did beat the man that beat the man for the belt, right? I don't know about that. I guess he got lineal from the WBA because he won the vacant WBC title, so that ain't lineal. You got to beat somebody to beat somebody to be lineal. So he must have got that from the WBA, I guess. Right? Somebody win a vacant belt. You can't become lineal from beating somebody that won a vacant belt. They got to beat the champion. Then you got to beat them. That's lineal. So it must have been from the WBA, but let's continue. I'm confusing myself. Let's move on, okay? Yeah. Okay. So he lost in the final of the Super 6, right? So after that, and this fight peaked at 580,000 viewers on Showtime, right? The final of the Super 6. So now he goes for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship. This is outside the Super 6 is over. Okay. Froch versus Butte. B-U-T-E. Butte. Lucian Butte. There they are. That's Butte in the red. They grow older. I told you what happened. Froch getting his hand raised. Froch versus Butte. The IBF officially enforced Carl Froch as Lucian Butte's #1 mandatory challenger. First fight out of the Super 6. Now, the fight billed as No Easy Way Out took place on May 26, 2012, in Froch's hometown of Nottingham. He fought a lot over there. Now, despite being the underdog with bookmarkers, critics and fans around the world, Froch dominated Butte throughout the fight to become the new IBF Super Middleweight Champion by TKO in round 5, making Froch a 3-time world champion. Yep, in the same division. And Butte did come in favored for this fight. Yep. Now, Froch versus Mack. After the Butte fight and acquiring the IBF title, Froch defeated Yusuf Mack via knockout. Okay, got to be quicker on the draw. There's him and Yusuf Mack. Okay, Mack with his back to us. He knocked out Mack, right? And the British website BoxRec named Froch the Fighter of the Year at the end of 2012. Now, WBA regular and WBC super middleweight champion, because Andre did go to light heavyweight, so I guess he had vacated it by then, because nobody beat Andre for it. So now Froch Kessler too, and remember, Kessler is one of the only two people that beat Froch, along with Andre Ward. So Froch Kessler 2 is his next fight, okay? And Kessler's trying to get that WBC back. On May 26, 2013, this match was scheduled for May 25th, but it started after midnight, so really 26th. Froch faced WBA champion Mikkel Kessler in a rematch of their fight in 2010. Now, I thought Froch won the WBC in the Super 6. I never saw how he lost it, but somehow Kessler has it back. No. Kessler is like the interim. Froch is the champion. In a rematch of their fight in 2010. This time it was, see, all these different titles, because you got the interim, the regular, the super. Just had one title, man. See, I got confused just now. I say Froch never lost the WBC, but Kessler had some other version of it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But anyway, this was a rematch from their 2010 fight. This time it was Froch that was victorious by unanimous decision. This was at the O2 Arena in London, with the judges scoring the fight 118-110, 116-112, and 115-113. Here we go again. 118-110 and another one 115-113. They're supposed to be using the same criteria. How can they see the fight so different, man? I do not understand that. I mean, there's not going to be exactly the same, but damn, 110 to 2, 107 to 5. Come on, man, that's crazy. But next he fought George Groves. Okay, we're winding down now. George Groves was after Kessler too. Okay. I got some other UK fighters we're going to talk about too, since Carl is from the UK. There's him and George Groves right there. Okay. That's Carl on the left. Froch versus Groves. Now, the IBF installed George Groves as Froch's mandatory challenger because he has the WBC and I don't know what he has, man. Because this all these interims and regulars and super dupers, this got me confused. The IBF installed George Groves as Froch's mandatory challenger. Their fight taking place on November 23rd at the Phone for You Arena in Manchester, England, with Froch's WBA regular and IBF super middleweight titles. WBA regular, IBF super, I don't know what none of that means. Middleweight titles on the line, super middleweight titles on the line. Despite being floored, now I thought they had the IBF, I don't know. But despite being floored for only the second time in his career by a left hook, right hand combination from Groves in the first round, Froch retained his titles with a TKO victory in round 9. There was significant controversy as many observers felt that referee Howard Foster stepped in to end the contest prematurely. And the 3 scoring judges had scored Groves ahead of Froch before Groves was shaken by some powerful Froch blows in the 9th round. So when they stopped it, Groves was ahead. And the controversial ending prompted a widespread demand for a rematch to be fought between the two. And they had it, right? They had the rematch. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, there they go again. On January 24th, then the very next year, 2014, the IBF ordered a rematch between Froch and Groves, giving Froch 90 days to fight Groves or end up being stripped of his IBF title, right? Froch versus Groves 2, okay? On February 13th, 2014, it was announced by Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing that Froch Groves 2 would take place on May 31st, 2014 at the stadium in London. At the stadium, wow, at the big boy, not the arena, the stadium. That thing holds 90,000. How many Froch and Groves put in there? Now, Froch, it don't say the attendance, but they must have expected a lot to put it at the stadium. Because they got a Wembley Arena and a Wembley Stadium, right? I think the arena is like, what, 15, 20,000? Stadium hosts 90,000 people. And AJ and Daniel Dubois put 90,000 in there. They had 80,000 tickets sold, but then the night of the fight, they put more than 90,000. They had to add some more seats or something. Fight just happened earlier this year. Now, Froch was quoted that the fight was what the British public want to see. And that was his reason for taking the option to give Groves a rematch. No, that wasn't the reason. They was going to strip you if you didn't take it. Don't step there and lie, Froch. They told you to fight him or get stripped. Now, while defending his WBA and IBF super middleweight titles, now, as soon as tickets went on sale, 60,000 tickets were sold in under 1 hour, right? And a further 20,000 tickets were made available, making this the biggest ever attendance for a boxing match in Britain since the Second World War at the time. So that's 80,000. So AJ and Dubois passed that, right? But that was the biggest at the time, 80,000 people. Now, the fight was a more cagey affair than the first one, with both fighters initially looking to outbox each other. Froch was stronger in the earlier rounds, with Jim Watt unofficially scoring the earlier rounds in favor of the champion on his Sky Sports scorecard. Now, by the end of the 7th round, both Richie Woodhall and Steve Bunce had the fight scored 4 rounds to 3 for Froch on the BBC scorecard. These are unofficial cards, not the judges, right? Groves came out fighting in the 8th round before Froch got him pinned against the ropes and delivered a right-hand blow, which knocked Groves out cold. It was later named Knockout of the Year by the Ring Magazine for 2014. And that was it for Froch. He got out of Dodge after that one. Yeah. Retired on top as champion. Now, his fighting style. Let's look at Froch's fighting style, okay? Froch was known for his long jab, which he used to maintain distance before delivering the right straight, with both punches often launched from hip height. While lacking some traditional defensive skills, Froch was renowned for his high levels of durability and resilience. Meticulous about his fitness regimen, he kept logbooks of all his training camps, beginning in 2002 until his 2013 retirement. He would use these to assess his performance in each camp against previous personal bests and records, helping him to decide when it was time to retire. Okay, let's take a look at his personal life. Personal life. There's him and his wife there. Personal life for the Cobra. His wife, Rachel Froch, whom he married in May 2019, is a British glamour model. Together, they have a son and 2 daughters. Froch has publicly stated his belief in a flat earth on numerous occasions. A flat earth, wow. And there you have it, the life and career of the Cobra, called Froch. Now, I got some other UK fighters we're going to take a look at, okay? Since we're talking about Froch. Some of the other top UK fighters of all time. Let me hit the light for a minute. Okay. We got Fantasy Matchups Monday coming up. I have no idea what this week going to be about. It just be some matchups. But let's look at some of these other UK fighters. Okay. But yeah, remember, 435, y'all. If you ain't in, you better get in. Because, that's a lot of money. I might have to use my alias and get me a couple tickets. Damn. But then they're going to want to know, who is that? And that's, what am I going to say? I don't know who that person is. Never heard of them. Who do we cash out the money to? Because I'm the one going to cash out. So I'm gonna have to do some explaining. So I can't get in it. I can't even use my alias because I'll get caught. Damn. But I would say I don't know who that person is. Who'd you cash out the money to? That person. Okay, let's look at some of these other British fighters. Can't use my alias. Damn. But it's tomorrow. And I'm gonna check it again before we get off the air. So we can see if it went up any during the show. Okay? Yeah, we're gonna check it again. Let's look at some of these British fighters, see if I got it right, where I'm supposed to be at. Man, these are some little handwriting, God. Ooh. Now, British boxing is currently enjoying, I'm just going to go straight to the boxers. I can't read that, it's small. Duke McKenzie is first. Looks like I'm in the wrong place. How's everybody doing today, though? It's the weekend. The big heavyweight showdown is upon us. I got Fury this time. Okay, and the big JBT raffle, if y'all ain't heard, is $435. It was $435 at 2:00. It might be more now. Okay, $ JBT Network 1. Melanie Queen 27 is keeping you notified exactly what you got to do to get in it, and try for that. Well, I'm just gonna say at least $435. Duke McCracken is first. Try for that $435. Jurilla's in it. Yeah. Now, Duke McCracken. Get out the way. Okay. You know, Englishmen. These are all Englishmen. I think I got a female boxer from the UK on here, too. Now, Duke McKenzie, what did I say, McCracken? He's a 3-division world champion, right? 2-division British champion, and also a European champion. McKenzie made his pro debut in 1982 with a second-round stoppage win over Charlie Brown. He won the British title by beating Danny Flynn in 1985 before beating Charlie McGree a year later for the European crown. These are just some other British fighters. Since, we talked about the Cobra called Froch, one of the top British fighters of all time. Just some other ones. His countrymen. Now, Duke vacated both titles to challenge Rolando Bohal for the IBF flyweight title, winning by an 11th round stoppage, okay? And McKenzie won his first world title in 1991 when he outpointed Gabby Canizales for the WBO bantamweight title. And after losing that title, McKenzie moved up in weight to beat Jesus Benavidez for the WBO super bantamweight title, right? In 1993, McKenzie became a 4-weight champion when he stopped John Davison to win the British featherweight title. McKenzie retired with a career record of 39 wins, 7 losses, 20 by way of knockout. Duke McKenzie. John Conte, another British fighter. John Conte. There's John. Now, John Conte, he was born in Liverpool, England, right? He was an entertaining character, both in and out of the ring. It was not uncommon for Conte to make the back pages with his boxing and the front pages for his Playboy lifestyle. At the age of 19, the talented Conte won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, and he turned professional soon after that. In 1974, he beat Jorge Victor Ahumada over 15 rounds to capture the WBC light heavyweight championship. And Conte held the title for 4 years before being stripped for refusing to take part in a mandatory defense. And he failed in 2 efforts to win back the world title against American Matthew Saad Muhammad, right? And he retired with a professional record of 34 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. But many experts believe his Playboy lifestyle meant he never reached his true potential as a fighter. Yep. Yeah, I believe his lifestyle held him back. John Conte. Let me get down here to the big boys from England. Ricky Hatton and them people, Get down here to them. Yeah. Everybody got that ticket. Just $5 get you in. 20 of them will get you. $20 will get you 5 chances. Going for $435 at least. Could be more. I'm gonna let you know in a minute. Where's Ricky Hatton at? There he is. Ricky Hatton. Now let me find Ricky on here. Ooh. There's Ricky. Oh. There he is. His son Campbell, I don't think Campbell going to do too much because Campbell is at 140, man. And what is he going to do at 140? So his son, I don't think he's going to go too far. And then if you go up to 147, what is he going to do there? But Ricky Hatton. There's only one Ricky Hatton. Ricky the Hitman Hatton is one of the most popular figures in the history of British boxing. That's true. Regardless of where he fought, Hatton would bring an army of passionate Manchester fans with him that would tear the house down in support of their man, right? I think he might have started that one singing that, what's that song? Oh, something. Oh, something, something, something. You know how they sang that over there with the headbands on no fire? I think Ricky Hatton was the one they started that on. Oh, Caroline, right? Ain't that it? Oh, Caroline. Now, the charismatic Hatton also had a habit of eating junk food and bringing on and binging on alcohol when not in training. Damn, Ricky. And would balloon up in weight between fights, often shedding 30 to 40 pounds in training camp preparation. Now, this habit earned him the nickname Ricky Fatton. Ricky Fatton. And then you got to spend so much of camp just getting on weight, right? Where the fighters that walk around at the optimum weight come in camp and they just lose the weight just through the regular process of training. They don't have to spend any time trying to lose weight. Just sparring and doing your regular workouts, the weight comes off. You have to walk around at that optimum weight, man. Aunt McQueen told me that. Hatton is also a huge fan of Manchester City Football Club. And he entered the ring to their anthem, Blue Moon, right? He was born in Manchester, and he turned professional in 1997. And he fought at Madison Square Garden in only his second fight, right? In 2001, Hatton won the WBU light welterweight title from Tony Pep with a 4th round stoppage. He defended the belt successfully against the likes of Freddie Pendleton, Eben McGee, and Ben Tackey before he produced one of his biggest career wins in 2005. Now, Hatton was a huge underdog when he faced Kostya Tszyu in 2005, as the Australian fighter was one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport at that time. Hatton put relentless pressure on Tszyu all night and won the fight when the Australian failed to answer the bell for the 12th round. Yeah, that was a big one there. Big upset when he beat Kostya Tszyu. Man, these letters are small. Make me sound like a first grader read. Now, later that year, Hatton stopped Carlos Mausa in 9 rounds and was given the prestigious Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year award for 2005. Yeah, that was 2 big wins. And Hatton then moved up in weight and won the WBA World Welterweight title with a win over Luis Collazo, and then followed that up with gritty wins over Juan Urango and Jose Luis Castillo. And the win against Urango gave Ricky the IBO and IBF light welterweight titles, while the win over Castillo saw Hatton hand the Mexican fighter the only knockout loss of his career to date. Did y'all know what happened in 2007, right? In 2007, the Hitman lost a much hyped fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. by way of a 10th round TKO. That check hook was the beginning of the end for Ricky. He bounced back to win the IBO Junior welterweight title from Juan Lescano. And he also stopped Paulie Malignaggi in Las Vegas. And Hatton was brutally knocked out by the great Manny Pacquiao in 2009 in his final fight. Yeah, Manny retired. Over the course of his career, Patton held 6 different world titles, including the prestigious Ring Magazine World Light Welterweight belt. He also had a career record of 45 wins, 2 losses, 35 knockouts. That's not too bad of a knockout rate. That's about 80, 35, and 45 fights. Yeah, that's 77%. That's not bad at all. Trump in the building. What's up, Trump? How are you today? Trump, we talked about the Cobra called Froch, and that ended. So now we're talking about some other UK fighters since Carl came from that UK. And like I was saying, you mentioned top UK fighters. You got to mention Carl. Got to mention Carl Froch. But salute Trump in the building. Okay. After the hitman is Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn. These are some of the other top UK fighters. Nigel Benn, yeah. Father of Connor Benn. Can I take a drink real quick, y'all? Thank you. You know, I got me a cool. It's Friday. The big JPT Ralph is $435. Nobody gonna meet my challenge? We're trying to get to 500. It's $435. Somebody put $60 in and get to $495. I would put 5 and make it 500. Somebody put 60. I will match it. There's 60 with $5. Just $5. So we can have $500. Okay. You get 15 chances. I don't get my one chance. I can't get in it. I thought about using my alias, but I'll get caught. Because, I'm going to have to cash out the money to somebody, and they're going to find out I cashed out it to myself, so I can't use the alias neither. Damn. I thought about it, though, for a minute. Like, could I get away with that? Nah. Okay, English fighter Nigel the Dark Destroyer Benn. Now, he had a storied career that saw him win world titles at 2 different weight classes, right? 2 different weight classes for Nigel. He went 41-1 in an impressive amateur career before turning professional in 1987. Now, Benn blazed the trail in his early career, firing his way to 22 consecutive knockout wins, 22 consecutive stoppages for Nigel. Now, Benn lost to Michael Watson by a 6-round knockout before getting back on track by beating Jorge Amparo on points in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, Nigel returned to Atlantic City to win the WBO middleweight championship by knocking out Doug DeWitt in 8 rounds. Benn then defended his title successfully with a first-round knockout of Iran Barkley before he would bump into his most hated rival. I guess y'all can tell I got the words bigger by my reading. They were small. Yeah, I found out how to get them bigger. Now, Nigel Benn and Chris, that's his most hated rival, Chris Eubank. Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank is a rivalry that has gone down in British sporting history, right? Benn adopted the role of working-class hero, while arrogant aristocrat Eubank had few admirers anywhere. Now, Eubank stopped Benn in the 9th round in a spectacular brawl, a result that reduced the Dark Destroyer to tears. Okay? Benn responded with a 6-fight winning streak before taking the WBC super middleweight title away from Mauro Galvano by way of a 4th-round knockout. Benn successfully defended 3 titles 3 times, and then he held on to it after a victory rematch with Eubank, right? Ended in a draw. Wow, ended in a draw between these two. I know they both hated that. I don't remember that, but yeah. Now, Benn was a underdog in the eyes of many, many pundits, right? When he defended against American Gerald McClellan in 1995. Now, Benn beat McClellan by a 10th round knockout, but the fight had tragic consequences. After suffering a number of heavy blows, McClellan was rushed to the hospital with a blood clot in his brain, right? And he remained in a wheelchair to this day. Yep. Now remember that. Now Thulani Sugar Boy Malinga would take Ben's title away, and the Dark Destroyer's career ended after 2 failed world title shots against Steve Collins. Now Ben retired with a career record of 42 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 35 knockouts. Not bad. Okay? Nigel Benn. And of course, it wouldn't be fitting if Chris Eubank wasn't next. Senior, right? Chris Eubank. Now, flamboyant showman. Little ass words, man, getting on my nerves now. Damn. Better without the glasses. Okay, let me give it a try. I had made them big, then they got back small on me. Flamboyant showman Chris Eubank. He left an indelible mark on British boxing history. Eubank was often viewed as arrogant and aloof by the general public, but his popularity grew as he jacked up the wins, right? As he racked up the wins, his popularity grew. Despite the image he conveyed as an upper-class snob, Eubank grew up in poverty, right? And he spent most of his life as a fighter. He was reportedly suspended 18 times in 1 year from school. 18 times in 1 year from school, right? And then expelled, despite claiming he was fighting to protect other kids from bullies. It took 18 times to get expelled. In my school, probably after 5, you would have been expelled. Damn. It must be lenient over there in the UK. He was suspended 18 times before they expelled him. Wow. Now, at the age of 16, but he did say he was fighting to protect other children from bullies. So, yeah. Okay. Now, at the age of 16, young Chris was off the rails, and he had problems with drugs, alcohol, and shoplifting. Now, his father made him move to the USA, and Eubank discovered boxing in the tough South Bronx district of New York. Now, he won his first 28 fights in a spectacular start to his professional career. Now, that run included capturing the WBC International title in 1990, knocking out Reginald Dos Santos in 20 seconds, right? 20 seconds, including the 10 count. So he put him down at 10, right? Wow. And beating the heavily favored Nigel Benn for the WBO middleweight title. That was the time he knocked Nigel out, right? Now, Eubank's rivalry with Benn is widely regarded as the greatest in the history of British boxing, and it caught the imagination of the British public, who flocked to see the rivals go head-to-head whenever they fought. Now, after a victory against Benn, Eubank produced 3 successful defenses, including a win over Michael Watson to end his middleweight career at 28-0. So then he moved up to super middleweight for the rest of his career. And his first fight at super middleweight would be a rematch win over Watson. But the fallout from that fight meant Eubank would mentally never be the same. But that's the one where the guy, had the blood clot, ended up in the wheelchair, right? And Eubank was never the same after that. Yeah, who would be, After a brutal 12-round TKO, Watson spent 40 days in a coma and underwent 6 brain surgery. A little bit more detail this time. 40 days in a coma, underwent 6 brain surgeries, right? And he suffered permanent partial paralysis and in a wheelchair to this day. And Eubank would never again display the true desire to hurt his opponent. Yeah, most boxers would have retired after that. Now, Eubank was unbeaten in his 11 fights after Watson, but produced only 1 knockout. And that one included a draw in a rematch against his bitter rival, Benn, right? Eubank suffered all 5 of his career losses in his last 9 fights, all after the Watson incident, being beaten twice by Steve Collins and once by a young Joe Kawasaki. When all was said and done, Eubank had a career record of 45 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. And like I said, he was unbeaten at middleweight, right? And was a world champion for over 5 years. However, many pundits wonder how his career was limited by the mental scars of the fight with Watson. And remember, He never lost the fight until after the Watson tragedy. He was undefeated at that point. So yeah, who knows what would have happened if that tragedy hadn't happened? Yeah, was clearly never the same after that. Yeah. Ken Buchanan, another UK fighter. Ken Buchanan fought Roberto Duran early in the 70s. The Hands of Stone. The Hands of Stone only lost one fight in the 70s. That was Esteban de Jesus, which he avenged twice. Yeah, he beat Esteban twice. They had a trilogy. Esteban was trained by Fearless Trinidad's father. We're going to check on the raffle in a little while. See where it's at. See if we're at 500 then. If it's at $4.95, I'll put in $5. Okay, if it's at $4.90, I'll put in 10. Make it 500, okay? That's all. Ain't going no further. Now, Ken Buchanan is widely considered Scotland's greatest ever fighter. Known as the Fighting Carpenter, Buchanan won the ABA Featherweight Championship before turning professional. Amateur Boxing Association. Now, Ken won his first 23 fights. First 23 out the gate. And then announced his arrival on the elite scene by knocking out Maurice Cullen to win the British lightweight title. Knocked out Maurice Cullen. Buchanan received his first world title shot in 1970 and traveled to Puerto Rico to take the world title away from Ismael Laguna by way of a 15-round decision. Now, over the next 2 years, he would defend this title successfully before fighting the Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Buchanan lost to Duran by way of a controversial 13th round stoppage that some believe to have been caused by a low blow. Yeah, Roberto wasn't above throwing a low blow if the referee was on the other side. Yeah. Hey, if you don't get caught, it ain't wrong. Roberto didn't get caught, so hey, it wasn't low. Ken bounced back quickly from the Duran loss to knock out former 3-time world champion Carlos Ortiz and then beat Chang Kil Lee. Now that was old Carlos Ortiz. Early 60s Carlos Ortiz, Buchanan wouldn't have stood a chance. That's the greatest Puerto Rican fighter ever, Carlos Ortiz. Ken beat him, but that was old Carlos Ortiz. Buchanan won, but he still beat him. So on box record, don't say old Carlos Ortiz, it just say Carlos Ortiz on box record, right? Now, Buchanan won the British title with a hard-fought victory over fellow Scot, Jim Watt, and also captured the European title when he outpointed Antonio Perdue in 1973. Now, when Buchanan retired, he had a career mark of 61 wins, 8 losses, and he was enshrined into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2000. Ken Buchanan. Now, Randolph Turpin, yeah, he beat Sugar Ray Robinson. Randy Turpin did, yeah. Sugar Ray got him back, though, when he came over here. But Sugar Ray went over to England and got beat by Randy Turpin. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he beat Sugar Ray. Randy Turpin. Now, English great Randolph Turpin is responsible for what is considered the biggest upset in British boxing history when he beat the great Sugar Ray Robinson in 1951. Turpin turned professional in 1946 and reeled off 16 straight wins, right? In 1950, he captured the British middleweight title with a 5th round knockout of Albert Finch. Turpin then went on to win the European middleweight title in February 1951 by knocking out Luc Van Dam in the 1st round. Later that year, Sugar Ray traveled to London as an overwhelming favorite. This is the time he beat him. But Turpin stunned the world by outpointing the American in convincing fashion to win the world title. And Robinson won back the title by a 10th round knockout in a rematch 2 months later. The rematch was in the Garden. I knew it was in the United States. I think it was in the Garden, in Madison Square Garden, right? Now, Turpin rebounded with 8 straight wins after the Robinson loss that captured the Commonwealth middleweight and light heavyweight title. He won the middleweight and light heavyweight title in the same fight. Wow. Turpin lost in his only other world title shot to Bobo Austin. Another 2 more of those great 50s middleweights, Randy Turpin and Bobo Austin. Yeah, Randy Turpin, one of those great 1950 middleweights I'm always ranting and raving about. Now, in his later career, Turpin won the British light heavyweight title twice, and also the Commonwealth light heavyweight title, right? Turpin finished his career with a record of 66 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 45 by way of knockout. Now, financial problems meant he went into professional wrestling before tragically ending his own life in 1966. He took his own life. Wow. Turpin was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2001. Wow. Okay. Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis. We talking about great United Kingdom boxers. Y'all knew Lennox Lewis was coming. Had to know that. Lennox was coming. Lennox the Lion Lewis. There he is. Okay. Now, quite simply, Lennox Lewis was the most dominant heavyweight of his era. Yeah. Lewis was born in London to Jamaican parents. Then he moved to Canada at the age of 12. After winning a gold medal at the Olympics, Lewis returned to his native England and signed with promoter Frank Warren as he turned professional. And he was not welcomed with open arms. Some of the English people said, go on back to Canada. That's where you wanted to be at. He was not welcomed with open arms. They warmed up to him, but it was a very cool reception when he first went back to England. They was like, that's where you wanted to be, Canada. Why'd you come back here for? Yeah, he turned professional and he signed with Frank Warren, right? Queensbury, the one that beat Eddie Hearn 5-0. Eddie didn't win nothing in that 5 for 5. I thought Eddie was going to cry. Now, Lewis had an unbeaten start to his professional career, winning the European heavyweight title from John Maurice Chanette and the British heavyweight title from Gary Mason. Lewis became the WBC's #1 contender when he knocked out tough Canadian Donovan Razor Ruddock inside 2 rounds. Now, champion Riddick Bowe refused to fight Lewis and vacated the belt. So on 14th January 1993, Lewis became Britain's first world heavyweight champion of the 21st century. Yep. Today they call it the email champion, but hey, Lewis both threw it in the trash. So they had to give it to somebody, right? So there ain't no email champion. Both should have got in the ring. He threw it in the trash. So they took it out the trash and gave it to Lennox. He became Britain's first world heavyweight champion of the 21st century. Lewis made 3 successful defenses of his belt, including a win in the much-hyped Battle of Britain against Frank Bruno, where Lewis won by TKO. That was a good one, too, while it lasted, him and Frank Bruno. Now, Lewis lost his belt in a shocking knockout defeat at the hands of Oliver McCall, a man he would later beat by TKO in a rematch to regain the title, when McCall had a mental breakdown during the fight, burst out crying. Remember? Burst out crying in the middle of the fight. Okay, Lennox then faced Evander Holyfield in a unification fight, but the fight ended in a draw, a very, very controversial draw. Despite Lennox landing, get this, 348 punches to Holyfield's 130. Now, combat boxing is just 2 people hitting buttons, but that wide, 348 to 130, you got to be something to that. Ain't nobody that blind. Outlanded about 200 punches, and they called it a draw. I think they had that woman, Eugenia Williams. She's terrible judging. I think one round, Lennox had like 50 to 4, 50 punches to like single digits, and she gave the round to Holyfield, man. Lennox outlanded this man by about 40-something punches one round, and this lady, Eugenia Williams, gave the round to Holyfield. They said, where was you at the bathroom doing that round? Damn. She should have never been allowed to judge again after that, but she was terrible. But they called it a draw, and the sanctioning bodies ordered a rematch, and Lewis became undisputed heavyweight champion of the world with a unanimous decision over Holyfield in the rematch. He should have had the unanimous decision the first time, but you know these judges, man, they still like that. And it's not bad judging; it's corruption. A woman was paid to do that. Hasim Rahman handed Lewis another knockout loss in 2001, but Lewis bounced back to knock out Rahman in the fourth round of their rematch. Yeah, everybody that beat Lewis, he avenged it. Everybody he lost to, he avenged it. Lewis finished off his career with a career-defining win over Mike Tyson and beat Vitaly Klitschko by a 6-round stoppage. He hung up his gloves, having beaten every man he ever faced, right? Even the ones he lost to, he came back and beat them, and established himself as as the dominant heavyweight champion of his generation. And his career record was 41 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. And he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2009. I always thought Lenny should have been undefeated because Oliver McCall and Hasim Rockford should have never beaten him, man. They both stopped him, but I don't know what was wrong with Lenny on those 2 nights. He was heavily favored in both of those fights. Those are the only fights he ever lost. Yeah. Joe Calzaghe. Talking about UK fighters. Joe Calzaghe. Here's Joe. Yeah, Joe Calzaghe. Beat Roy Jones and B-Hop. And I ain't going to say old Roy Jones and B-Hop because BoxRec don't say that. BoxRec just say Roy Jones and B-Hop. The Pride of Wales is one of only 4 European boxers to retire as an undefeated world champion. Yep. Calzaghe made his professional debut in 1993 on the undercard of the Lennox Lewis versus Frank Bruno fight. Within 2 years, Calzaghe had won the Young Boxer of the Year award and received hefty praise from Barry McGuigan. Barry said he punches ferociously, moves superbly, and has the best of the European technique and U.S. aggression. That's what Barry said about him. Barry's on this list too. I think he was way back there. I passed him. Joe won his first world title in 1997 when he knocked down Chris Eubank in round 1 and went on to score a unanimous decision win for the WBO super middleweight title. Calzaghe racked up a number of wins with Omar Shika and Robin Reed among his victims before facing Jeff Lacey in 2005. Left Hook Lacey was a much-hyped American prospect and was expected by many to give Calzaghe a tough challenge. Joe put a beating on Lacey, winning every round to beat the American by a wide points margin. Many fans believe Lacey was never the same again mentally after that beating. That's why you don't put them youngsters in there against them good fighters like that. Keyshawn Tank. After that beating, Keyshawn may never be the same, man. Bobfather ain't doing that, though. Because Bobfather, Keyshawn is big money for him down the line. And just like this one, Jeff Lacey was never the same after that Calzaghe beat him. And that was a unanimous decision. After a vicious knockout, I don't know, man. It might not happen, but, it's tight, though, man. And, that potentially what could happen, man. The man might not never be the same, but I don't know. In May 2007, Calzaghe unified the super middleweight division with a unanimous decision win over Danish great Mikkel Kessler, then moved up to light heavyweight to beat Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. Many critics claim you don't put an 11-fight guy in there with one of the best finishers in the business, man. You just don't do that. Bobfather ain't doing it, I'm telling y'all. Bob Arum is not doing that. You heard it here first. Many critics claim that Calzaghe beat a faded Kessler and Hopkins. However, the fact that both are still performing perform for as long as they did at a world championship level raised serious questions. Now, I don't know. Joe retired having held the WBO, WBA, WBC, and IBF super middleweight titles during his career, and also held the Ring Magazine world titles. I was trying to read and talk at the same time. He also had the Ring Magazine titles for super middleweight and light heavyweight. Calzaghe held his WBO title for over 10 years, and retired with a career record of 46 wins, no losses, 32 knockouts. Then Bob Fitzsimmons, the old guy way back there. There's Bob Fitzsimmons. Remember? Bob won. That's him on the left. Him and Roy Jones is the only people that win the middleweight championship and the heavyweight championship. Okay, Bob Fitzsimmons. Then Ted the Kid Lewis. Y'all heard me talk about Ted the Kid. He's from back there too. There's Ted the Kid. And finally, I'm gonna find out who the profile is next week for y'all. Then I'm gonna find out what the raffle's at. John Jack Broughton, that's it. Okay, let me find out who the profile is next week. Then I'm gonna tell you what it was 435. Then I'm gonna see if it's, got any higher. But the life and career of Carl Froch today. International Boxing Hall of Famer, one of the top fighters in UK history. Okay. I always leave the book in the closet where I got my profiles. I got them scheduled out for like a month ahead. Excuse me for 1 second, please. I do this every week. No, I do this every week. Have to find out in the book way over there. Okay, I'm back. Let's see who the profile is next week, and then we're gonna see where the raffle is at. So stick around. Don't leave. Anybody that's in it. Okay, next week the profile is the Hawk, Aaron Pryor. Next week, the Hawk, Aaron Pryor. Don't miss that one. Next Friday, the life and career of the Hawk, Aaron Pryor. Okay, now let's check on this raffle. See where we at. We came into the show at 435. See where we at now. Okay? See how much somebody gonna win. Might be still at 435. Might not be. But we're gonna know in seconds. Cash App. Yeah. No, 535. What I'm talking about? 535. Have I been saying 435 the whole show? I mean 535. Yeah, 535. What am I talking about? Yes, we came in at 535 and we end up at 535. But hey, we got all day tomorrow and the rest of today. So, yeah. But somebody will win that tomorrow, at least $535. 4 days before Christmas. So that's going to be a Merry Christmas for somebody, man. I knew it would be for me if I won $535 tomorrow from a raffle. That would be a very Merry Christmas for me. I ain't rich. Shoot. Somebody give me $535 tomorrow? Man, I'd be doing jumping jacks and flips and all kind of stuff. But yeah, you still got the rest of today and tomorrow. I think we were doing a joint show like we did last time doing the, nobody really said anything about it, but like we did doing the, who was that fight last? Oh, Bivol and Better Be Ad was the fight during the last raffle, remember? And we did a joint show, and then 5 minutes after the fight, we the wheel was spun, and we had 3 winners last time, and we had one guy had 3. He had like 20-something chances or something like that. And he won the first. He won first and second place. We had 3 prizes last time. He won first and second place. What's his name? Michael something. Damn, I can't remember his name. Melanie Quinn, if you had put his name in the chat, I forgot his name. That won the first 2 prizes last time. And oh man, I don't even know who won the 3rd prize. I can't remember. I'm old. I'm trying to remember something months ago. I can't even remember what happened when the show started. But yeah, we had the guy had 20-something chances, won first and second place. So get those block specials, man. And you will might come up with that $542. $535, what I'm talking about. $535. I don't know. Don't pay me no attention. $535. I was looking at something had a 42 on it. But right now, $535, right? And we're trying to get to 600. We still got the rest of today, and we got tomorrow. All day tomorrow. Whenever the main event is, okay? Now their fights, the main event might be like 6, 7 because they are different time than us, right? So it ain't gonna be no 12, 1 o'clock like our fights then. Our time. It's gonna be a little earlier, so yeah. But I can't wait to see who wins it, man. The Hawk, Aaron Pryor. We got another big week of boxing history coming up next week. Starting out with fantasy matchups Monday. And then Tuesday will be the welterweight. We're going to look at the welterweight division. Some of the all-time great welterweights. Some of the currently active welterweights. Some great all-time welterweight fights. Like Floyd. Well, Floyd Manny ain't going to make it. That wasn't great at all. It was iconic because it was a big-time fight, but it wasn't a good fight. And then Wednesday, it's going to be the life and career of Fearless Trinidad. I know I did it before on Friday, but BVO requested this one. So it's going to be Wednesday. We're going to do it again. Okay, Fearless Tito Trinidad for BVO Boxing TV. And brought to you by BVO Boxing TV. Next Thursday is Boxing in the States, Nevada, because we missed it. Remember, I went from Montana straight to New Jersey, missed Nebraska and Nevada. So I had to go backwards. Do Nevada, and then we're going to pick it back up with, is it New York? What's after New Jersey? Is it New York? But Nevada next week. And then next Friday, remember, the life and career of the Hawk, Aaron Pryor. Yep. Another big week of boxing history coming straight at you from Cass Sports. Trump, Jarrell Hattie, Ken Saw Love 1, Melanin Queen 27, Al Booger, Crush the Legend, Mike Rim, Mike Mazik, The Rise Podcast, Just Do Boxing, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody for stopping through today. Join me Monday for some more boxing history. Because if it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Just Do Boxing is straight ahead. This is Cass Sports. Everybody, please have a great weekend. And join us tomorrow because we're going to be doing the raffle. Okay? Somebody's getting at least $435 tomorrow, 4 days before Christmas. Good luck. Have a great weekend. And I will see y'all around those JBT streets. Well, that's a loud woman, ain't it? Everybody have a great week. Jesus Christ. Oh, excuse me.